Today we are interviewing two of the founders of the cold-blooded Creepz NFT project, better known as Creepz. Very interesting project. Very excited to talk about it. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. We are not financial advisors. The NFT space is incredibly risky, so always do your own research. Let's bring them on. We've got Joe, also known as Sharkbait, and we've got Dom, two of the founders of the Creepz project. How's it going, gentlemen?
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming on. Yeah, we're excited to have you. What a roller coaster ride the NFT space must have been for you two thus far, huh?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster for sure. Both, in terms of learning, technical, emotional, whatever you might have it. But it's one that we're very grateful for. The Creepz community are just the most wonderful bunch of people. They've supported us along the way and made it all a lot easier.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as entrances into the NFT space goes, I feel like you guys had a pretty electric one. We were just kind of chatting off air for a minute, and it sounded like when you guys were first getting into this, you weren't totally sure if it was going to work out, if you were going to be able to go full time, everything like that. And then the project obviously really caught fire immediately. It seems like maybe it felt like a lot longer for you all, but as a spectator and an early participant that sold 1 million years too early, it really seemed like you all were popping very quickly and had that massive run to, I believe it was like a 9 or a 10 ETH floor. Can you talk about, the early days of Creepz? I want to definitely dive into your backgrounds and everything like that. But, when you first started Creepz, like what was the goal? What was the vision? And how's it been so far?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Sometimes the best things come from when you're just doing it for a hobby. And, that's certainly what Creepz was in the beginning. Joe was, running product at a very large fintech. And I was running my own startup. And, we saw the Web3 space happening and unfolding. We'd been investing in crypto for, over now I can't remember the years, but maybe a decade, and we've been investing in NFTs for about a year, and we thought, hey, it looks like something interesting is happening here. It's the next .com boom. There's going to be lots of interesting use cases, and so given we are kind of founders at our core and our DNA, we wanted to learn by building rather than learn through observation. And so we started building on the weekends and on the evenings. And we thought, let's just figure out how do we build, smart contracts and, Web3 infrastructure. How do we, lean into community building, knowing and coming from web, it's a totally new structure of build, learn how to do that. And we just learn fast, iterated, like we've done in our previous startups, really applying that methodology. And before you know it, I think we sort of came across something quite special. At some point, we decided to quit our respective, normal Web2 lives and jobs. And by the way, we quit way too early.
Totally irresponsible.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise anyone quitting as early as we did. That was risky as hell. But whatever, it turned out well. But yeah, we leaned really hard into two areas. One of which both of which we didn't think had been done or be done as well as it could have done. The thing that hadn't been done was sort of storytelling and world building. There were PFP projects that sort of lived as PFP projects by themselves. And we thought, if you want to really wrap people into something viscerally and emotionally and make them have fun in it, you need to have a strong storyline and a big world that you build in and a central character. That was sort of one side of it. And the other side of it was, we always are questioned what the hell is an NFT? Like, what does an NFT become? Our answer was they can't just live as digital assets forever. You've got a dilution problem. You can't just keep releasing NFTs. You hit a point where you stop and you need to start creating ecosystem for bringing value in. And so we thought, you need to create a brand and create sort of side products off it. And so world building and narrative helped doing that. The other thing was, transparency and communication. I think, back when we started, doing AMAs and posting as frequently as did wasn't the norm. We really embodied radical transparency. We were in the Discord 24/7. I mean, literally from like a lot of the days from like 10 a.m. in our world, all the way to 5 a.m. Chatting to people, DMing people, getting on video calls with people, doing 2-3 AMAs a week. And, we got to mint day and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, the rest is definitely history. Go ahead, Nick.
I'm wondering, like, in terms of the context of you all starting this, you said you were founders at heart. Had you guys started another business before? Before starting this? Okay.
Yeah, we both started multiple businesses over our career. Joe even, I'll give him a little honorable mention. He won Entrepreneur of the Year in the UK here a few years back. So, we had a lot of experience founding, and it really is core DNA. I've been a startup founder more than I have been an employee.
Okay. So so you guys have started companies before. You ended up starting this one. You've jumped into the NFT space. Well, a couple of questions. One, I have to ask everyone who's anonymous, why are you anonymous?
Well, I mean, I guess that's the thing. We're not anonymous. We're there on LinkedIn. We've got a lot of our community who have added us on LinkedIn. We do video calls with our community the whole time.
Got it.
We do video calls with people. The reason why we don't show our faces is because, quite frankly, it's a bit of a weird situation, right? I think you can be transparent and open and, have access to your face, as it were, in lots of these different means. But, I've never wanted to be any sort of like micro celebrity, and NFTs, it has that weird thing. I don't really want my face to be sort of public facing on YouTube. But certainly my LinkedIn's open, video calls open, whatever I have it.
Cool. I won't keep asking about that, but it's one that's always curious for me in terms of people that are running a business. So so you guys have like taken off. It's become like it was a massive success. You all have over 26,000 ETH worth of volume traded. I had a friend reach out to me months ago, texting me, "Yo, Creepz is the next Bored Ape Yacht Club. I own one. Like, huge fan of it." My advice at that moment was sell because in all moments of euphoria, not because of you all, but the overall market ended up going down after that. But I'm wondering, like, in terms of your all experience with building an NFT project, your like execution out the gate was faster than most projects that we've seen. We've seen like second NFT projects, we've seen staking dynamics, we've seen other things like that. How large is the team, and how did you all execute that so quickly? Was that pre-built before the actual first launch, or do you guys just have a large team, or are you brilliant engineers? Like, which one of those, or all of those things? Like,
it's a really good question. It's a really good question. I mean, going back to the point of some of the logic we went through before we launched this, and how do we come to our launch state, and the analysis which we did on the market, as well as looking for how do we build great story and great community. The other thing was what is utility, and what does that mean for holders and initial holders from mint of an NFT brand. And one of the things we wanted to do and promise from day one was to have immediate value. We really believe in the fact that the relationship in Web3 between the founders and the holders should be balanced, and you should really focus as much time on delivering as much value back in the immediate sense as holders give to you as a project. So we went and built a team of, there's probably 12 of us now. We were a little bit smaller pre-mint, majority engineer focused, and we built and we just built and we built and we built, and we obsessed over everything from the staking dynamics, the user experience of how you would access the multiple experiences on the map, whether it's the bank or whether it's, going to the armory to pick up a spy bird. We totally obsessed and, went really deep on how do we build something which is as sort of complex and exciting and as detailed and as story-led as we would want to be when we bought into a brand. And that allowed us to, within the first 4 weeks, we dropped, I think, about 60,000 NFTs, and every single drop was flawless. I think Creepz dev team certainly have earned a reputation in the space of being able to execute at high pace, at high speed with flawless execution. And we are very fortunate to have an amazing team behind us. But I think the real key thing here is that everyone who we brought on board is hyper focused on building in the space and creating legacy. No one is here just to make money. And we went through a really hard interview process to begin with, about finding people who actually cared about the outcome, not just the output of shipping. And we collectively defined that outcome. What do we actually want to create? Is it a feeling? Is it a place? And all of these things allowed us to have total trust in each other when it comes to delivering something. So when you're delivering every 3 days, which is what it was for a month actually, you've got to have total trust in your team to be able to actually deliver at the standard that everyone would want. So we're super grateful. Community is one pillar of Creepz, but our team has to be the other, because it's really what carries our kind of ability to deliver at scale.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, like when I think about Creepz, I think that, you all were one of the first that really built out a staking mechanic that worked exactly, I think, as people would expect it to work. I mean, I remember there was a massive supply squeeze on the Genesis Creepz. The amount of Lumi that people were yielding was, the value was incredible. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you came up with those mechanics, and maybe even just give a kind of high level breakdown of what the mechanics are in the Creepz ecosystem for maybe someone that isn't super familiar?
Yeah, sure. I think when we came in, we started with this idea of world building and storytelling, and we thought a really great way of engaging people into that narrative is to make them genuinely a part of it through the different characters that they earn. And, we always defined play to earn as, the earn as earning cool art. And, whether it's your spy birds or your shapeshifters or whatever it might be, we were like, how can we bring you into the story and get art into your hands and bring you into novel experiences? An example of that would be these sort of mega shapeshifters. It was this amazing week-long experience. And, we had hundreds of emails at the time, DMs at the time, saying it was the best experience that they had in NFTs. And we kind of created this like novel card game, like card trading experience. We remembered the fun we used to have as kids in the playground with our Pokemon cards, and you'd open a new pack and you reach out to Billy and be like, oh my God, I want that card. I'll give you 2 of these. Trading amongst each other. And we wanted to recreate that. And so, we recreated that experience. And it was super fun. Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine it was. Nick, go ahead.
Well, I'm curious because the commenters keep posting candles in here. What's the deal with candles?
Well, it goes back to the idea of narrative. I think, we used to always say in AMAs that we wanted to create, what we thought was experiential theater. I don't know if you guys have ever gone to those theater experiences where you walk through various rooms and the actors are around you and they react to you and they bend. And we kind of wanted Creepz to embody that. And it wasn't, not embody that just in the kind of technical application, but also in the experience of entertainment in the Discord. So there's lots of rituals that, when we see something that is a bit special that's come from the community, we lean into it really hard and let everyone sort of grow the beast by itself. As we've got these fun rituals that people might know about, Overlord sacrificing, and the candles, essentially, everyone in the Discord, they light up these candles ferociously until this character, the Overlord, comes up, and he'll sacrifice you into a secret channel. So that's where the candles come from.
Very cool. Yeah, a little bit of cult lore there. Very, very cool stuff. It's actually the amount of comments right now is freezing my stream. So I don't know, Nick, say something if you can still hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So I'm still here. I just can't see anything. So, I wanted to talk about partnerships a little bit because I know that you all, it's been announced that there's some sort of partnership in April, and now obviously we're in April with Loveless City Metro Pass, which is another NFT project. Can you share anything about that partnership?
Yeah.
Yeah, partnerships are really.
Sorry,
you can take it.
No, you go for it. You go for it.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say partnerships are really important for us, and before we go into that partnership specifically, I think it goes back to the core of why we jumped into Web3, and I guess what we were missing from our Web2 worlds, which was how do you build product in the most I guess it's in its most native state. Product is essentially designed to enrich people's lives and to bring joy and experience to people. And in Web2, you typically build that in an isolated state, and then you would go and find some users or community and be like, hey, do you like this? And we really wanted to go to a place which had that in such a native way, because we knew we could build really, really great product and experiences when we were doing it in an iterative way with real people. And from day one, partnerships and community was core to our thesis. It was, how do we go and find the best people, the best brands who we can work with? And when I talk about best, I talk about who have the most similar values to us and have a value on where we are as builders, our responsibility, what is our role as brands, what does community mean, where does the space go if we do these things? And partnerships were core. We grew the whole Discord through partnerships and word of mouth. We did no advertising. We did nothing which was considered paid in any sense. It was all through finding communities of like-minded value projects. And partnerships such as with Loveless City is something very similar to that. Very talented artist, great vision for the space. And also, I guess this is a key point for us, is willing to take a risk, willing to take a bit of a risk and willing to learn from those risks. We as a team are very open about, failing fast and learning quickly. We don't get everything wrong, right? Sorry. We learn from our mistakes, and I think that's super important here, because that's what's going to drive the space. I always say we are in a time where you're judged on your input rather than your output. And people kind of forget. People sort of just try and do a little bit on the input and extend it on the output and hope that, that's good enough. And I think what we need to really focus on as builders in the space is, as founders in the space is constantly trying to add, being, everything we do being additive to the space and really trying to build it around us. So partnerships with brands such as Loveless City is one of them. It's two great projects coming together and trying something new and experiential.
I mean, that's fantastic. I couldn't agree more. I mean, specifically on that partnership, is there anything you can disclose on what that looks like for maybe holders of Creepz, holders of Loveless City, or both?
Yeah, everything we do, obviously from a partnership level, we try and bring benefit back to the Creepz community. They are our core priority. It's our fiduciary duty, I guess, almost. And the Loveless City Mint, every Genesis Creepz holder will also get a Loveless Genesis Creepz. So we're actually doing almost a mutant moment where you would use your Genesis Creep, and then you would get a Loveless version of that, a full generative project based around your Creep. So. But yeah, that's probably as much as I can share at this moment. But yeah, it's everything. I guess the thesis is can we challenge the status quo? Can we do things which are additive to the space, and can we reward holders?
Fantastic, Nick. You had a question?
Yeah, I'm wondering. So you guys came out the gate blazing, and with a ton of execution. It's a hard pace to sustain. And then the real question that ends up happening is what does one deliver next? and that for me is sort of, partnerships are a big thing. I think a lot of people are thinking about partnerships itself, but like, what sort of like other utility do you all think about moving forward for holders? Like, do you guys categorize yourself in the metaverse play? Do you guys consider yourself as a gaming play? Like, when you think into the future, which of those areas do you think about most? Not including not just the two that I said, but like, how do you think about that moving forward in terms of? I hate to bucket somebody or any project, to be fair, because we have a world of opportunity out there. But I'm thinking, like, do you all bucket yourselves? And if so, like, in the future, how do you view that? Is it intellectual property? Is it content and media and entertainment? Like, what is it?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And it's a question that every NFT brand has to ask themselves at some point. Otherwise, you die, right? You need to hit that point of transition. And how do you grow from, place X to place Y? And it's something we've always had in our mind, even from day one of inception of idea. We were like, how do we pave a roadmap post, the first launch period, which I suppose, the foundational past 3 months has been, and bringing it back to narrative again. We purposely put narrative in because it gives us lots of IP opportunities, just like you mentioned, Nick. We're currently, we've been signed and managed by 360, who are one of the biggest, talent management companies on the planet. They manage the recent Oscar winner, Will Smith, Jason Statham, Louis Tomlinson from One Direction, Calvin Harris, a bunch of huge, great people. And they're really masters of their game. And we sort of brought them in as a partner to help us, grow the Creepz ecosystem, grow the Creepz world. A thought that gets me really excited is, Mickey Mouse was once a drawing on a piece of paper. Marvel was just a comic book, and Harry Potter was just a few lines on a napkin. And I think the next generation of big sort of mega entertainment brands, NFT is almost the most perfect starting point for those brands, because you start with a bunch of funding and you have a, ferociously passionate community around you who will spread that word, which, it leans into the nature of decentralized marketing, right? And so we're using 360, and we're currently, exploring doing animated series, doing big fashion collabs with some massive companies, doing all sorts of sort of crazy random stuff to kind of create that ecosystem and, spread the word, not just in Web 2 to bring eyeballs onto us, but also, make a big bang and shout in the NFT space. It's no secret that those sort of big moments tend to get the most buzz for NFT brands. And, over the next month or so, we're really going to sort of mature from the baby that launched in early January to the more adult, NFT brand that we are, and with all the learnings. And we're going to go through a big sort of rebrand and reposition to sort of accommodate all those plans that are in the works in the background.
Man, Creepz dropped in early January. That is insane. I feel like it was so long ago. That's so nuts that it was 3 months ago. Wow. I don't know. Maybe I blacked it out because I sold it so early. Well, you touched upon, future plans for Creepz. Just to kind of close out, what else can you tell us about what's coming down the pipeline? Obviously, you already kind of gave us an idea of what the Loveless City partnership looks like. What else can Creepz holders, or maybe people that are interested in getting into Creepz, what can they expect for the next, couple months through the end of the year?
Yeah, sure. So, other than the sort of animated series, fashion collabs, all those kind of good stuff I talked about, our project works in seasons. Season 1 was the sort of the first sort of game. Season 2 is currently the sort of interdimensional incubation and evolution process. And season 3 is when we sort of mature up into something a bit more ambitious. And the metaverse has always been something that's very interesting to us. We started building a sandbox and with a great partner. And what they did was really cool. And we've just got a sort of sandbox land there. But I think, going through that process and talking to 360, we kind of decided that we want to really blow the doors off and go really ambitious. And so, one of the things we really want to do is develop a seriously cool sort of blockchain game. The kinds of ones where you have your proper 3D, high render fidelity characters, and there's levels and games and battle royales and stuff like that. So that's currently in the pipeline.
That sounds exciting. I thought I'd just add real quick that Pio got completely rugged. The comments ended up crashing his computer, which thanks to the candles and snakes. So shout out to the Creepz community. You have overloaded his computer.
Unfortunately, that's what the Creepz community will do. They get very excited.
So no problem at all. So in terms of like thinking forward, I'm wondering what's like the most imminent upcoming thing. Maybe you've announced it or not, but like if someone today is looking at Creepz and they're interested in buying it, or should they be interested in buying it, and like what would be the thing that they're looking to that says I should buy this instead of any other project?
Yeah, I've got an absolutely brilliant answer for that. And it is, currently the Creepz holders are going through a really cool art experience. Most other brands will airdrop a generative collection to their holders. And we thought, hey, why don't we make that a bit more interesting? And let's create, sort of multi-week gamified experience. So currently we've got our next generative collection. Our only other generative collection is the Genesis at the moment. So it's our next sort of proper collection called the Interdimensional Lizards. The artwork is super wild. Cyclone has done an amazing job. So the holders are currently going through that experience, like incubating them and doing some fun stuff. New holders, if they want to get in, if they get in now, they will actually get a free mint of an interdimensional lizard. Because, and the reason that's valuable is that in a couple of weeks, we'll be doing sort of the classic whitelist roadshow to some other, top communities and giving whitelist out to those communities. But as if you buy in as a Creepz holders now, you get the Creepz, but you're also going to, get a free interdimensional, and they're going to be pretty cool.
Well, that's very exciting. So is the number of those being released the exact same as the number of Creepz that exist currently, or are you going to 2x it?
No, the plan is to keep numbers roughly the same.
Okay. Well, that's very exciting. Is there anything else in terms of that we didn't cover that you think people should know about?
Yeah, I guess also, if you're coming in as a new holder, I can't actually think of a better time to come in. And the reason for that is what we've spoken about beforehand, which is we are going through this transition period of, 3-month-old brand that's learned its legs and figured out, who it wants to be and what it wants to do. And given we are going to do a massive rebrand, reposition, rehaul of everything and get these interdimensional mints out and get these huge, great, products out, animated series, fashion brand collabs, there's going to be huge, alpha opportunities, if all goes well. So it's a great time to come in. There's going to be tons of, bursts of excitement and fun releases that are coming up.
Someone in the comments keeps asking about the passes. I have no idea what that means, but I'm assuming that you all do.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the reason they'll probably be talking about invasion passes is that if someone comes in and they get a Genesis Creepz, if they also buy an invasion pass, which are pretty cheap at the moment on OpenSea, you will get a free airdrop of a 3D Genesis Creep, which will be going into our metaverse world.
Okay, exciting. So that's the Creepz Invasion Pass is what they're speaking to?
Exactly that, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you all coming on the show. Really grateful for it. And shout out to the Creepz community on crashing Pio's computer. If people want to check you out, I mean, it seems like the best path is buy the NFT and hop in your Discord, right?
Yeah, if they get a Genesis Creepz and they hop in the Discord, it is the most supportive community on the planet. Me and Joe are also very active in there, and we can, get them their free interdimensional, talk them through the invasion pass, whatever else they want to learn about the ecosystem. Everyone's all hands on deck and welcoming to new people. It's a super exciting place to be with, an exciting year ahead.
Love it. Well, thanks again for joining.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for having us, Nick, and poor Pio being rugged. Thanks, Creepz community, for showing the love and being supportive.
Awesome. Well, have a great day.
Cool.
Thanks,
You
Nick.
too. Thank you.
Cheers.
I think we're just gonna have to leave.
We're never leaving.
As Pio has to shut down this actual show.
Right.
So
Okay. I figured it out. All right. Catch you later.
All right. Later.
Bye. Bye.